Hey, I'm Carrie. Welcome for the first time. Welcome back. All around. Welcome. I'm Carrieblogger, a career freelancer on Fiverr.com, where I've been selling as a Fiverr Pro verified copywriter and branding expert for about the past 7 years now. And in today's Freelance Friday video, I am answering a previous comment that I received on another video about kind of damage control of what to do when you are sitting in a dumpster fire of despair. Your client is the worst ever, you don't know what to do, it's turning into a big problem, and you are watching your reputation flash before your very eyes. We've all been there. What do you do in the midst of the actual problem? What's the strategies when things are actually just going to shit? How do you get out of it? This video is going to be full of a lot of shrugs and maybe try this. There are no right answers, perfect answers, I guess, but everything is based on my own personal experience on Fiverr, working full-time as a career freelancer. I've dealt with a lot of really crappy people who really don't treat you right, and this is kind of what I've learned along the way, so hopefully it's helpful to you. If you're not subscribed yet, please be sure to do so. You are making my tiny channel grow, and I so appreciate you being here. And if you have a question for a future Freelance Friday video, please be sure to comment that down below. I can't always guarantee that I will submit an answer for you, but I do try, so feel free to let me know what you're curious about. Let's get into it. So before I go into my actual diffusion strategies, I just have a couple kind of disclaimers to say. Number one, you have to be proactive before the bomb erupts. Exceptionally clear with your pricing, with exactly what your service covers, with exactly what your style is, if you can define that as well as possible, either through tangible descriptions of your style, if that works for what you're offering, or a portfolio to show your style in action. Those are really important. Having a complete FAQ is also extremely important on your gig page, and it also gives you just a little more leverage and leeway if something does happen, because you can point to all those things you've done and say, hey, we talked about this. I was clear. It's not like you're trying to scramble and make up for a lack of clarity when things go downhill. Even if you're like me and you are screaming into a pillow and considering turning off Fiverr forever, when it comes to what the buyer sees, it has to be immediate, clear, polite, and thorough. It's hard, but you got to do it. So let's talk about a couple of those different situations and kind of the most common scenarios. The first is when the buyer asks for something different than what was previously discussed. The worst case scenario, of course, is after you deliver and then they tell you that they need something else. So in that case, I recommend that you direct them back to the previous discussions that you've already had. Again, be able to point back to that clarity and saying, whoa, this is what you asked for. Whether or not they go for it, if they are even remotely good humans, they will say, oh, I'm sorry, I did tell you that. I recognize that you were following my instructions, but actually I want this instead. And when they've kind of given you that, oh, you're right, I did ask for that, then that puts you in such a better position to explain other charges, explain your revision policy, explain kind of what they need to do to make it right, because they've kind of already at least come to terms to the fact that you were literally doing what you were instructed to do. It's not that you didn't know how to follow instructions, it's that they asked you for the wrong thing. My other strategy is to reconfirm, again, pointing backwards, the things that they did pay for and the things that they did ask for. So I would say something like, saying like, I'm sorry if you were confused, or that's surprising to me. I really enjoyed the clarity that you had before, so it's surprising how your directions have changed. I'm not quite sure what you're asking for at this point. Little ways of kind of pointing it back to like, you're the problem. Sorry you're not happy, but like, what do you want? But you just have to frame it in a way that helps them realize or see what they told you to do, what they're asking for you to do now. And then once they realize the disconnect, they're usually in a much better position to be willing to pay a revision fee or be willing to order an add-on to the order or an upgrade to fit the new requirements they're asking for. Also forgot to mention, this only works when you are 150% confident, absolutely no question, that what you have delivered is up to par. It is exactly what they ordered. There is no question on your side. So you have to do that self-evaluation first before you can even get into, well, they asked for something different or they're not happy. You have to think, why are they not happy? Is that a me problem or is that an honestly a them problem? And you have to be really honest with yourself about that, because if it's you problem, you need to address that, no question. Oh boy, this video is going to get really long if I keep talking this much. Another really common problem is when someone tries to undercut your rates. Again, being as clear as possible, you just have to point them back. literally sending screenshots in a really helpful way. Say like, this is what we had discussed previously. Here's a screenshot of our message just to refresh your memory. Remember, we were talking about this, friendly, as much as you can through text, which also can be a little bit of a challenge sometimes. Also, when I am reaffirming my rates, try to give them the benefit of the doubt. It looks like you accidentally ordered the wrong package. That's a common mistake or whatever. I understand if you are confused. Here is the gig extra to upgrade the package. Here's me being helpful and stepping in to help you get what you actually need to pay for. In the case when people are trying to undercut you and they're not willing to upgrade, then I go ahead and very strictly confirm exactly what they have paid for. They ordered 250 words, they're asking for 500. Then you say, oh, I'm sorry, it looks like you ordered the wrong package. Here's the upgrade to correct the order and get 500 words like you asked for. I'm being helpful, I'm being friendly, I'm being proactive. Thumbs up. And then if they say, no, I don't want to pay more, then I would come back and say, okay, if you're not upgrading, this is what you're receiving. I will do this incredibly well, but I'm not gonna upgrade and give you this just because you're pretending to be dumb and not know how to order. I wouldn't play games of negotiating back and forth and saying, oh, well, it sounds like you want more, but maybe I can, don't do that. I mean, you can try, but I don't think it works very well.
Hey, one more time. I forgot to also mention that I have this one little phrase I've been using forever, and I feel like it really does a good job of summing up the self-assured, consistency and stability of my prices. I always say I don't offer discounts because my prices are set to reflect the quality and consistency of my work.
Sometimes people pull on your heartstrings. It's very rare. But then in that case, maybe meet in the middle and offer a discount or whatever, but that's up to you. You have to decide if the quality of your work and what you're putting into it is worth a deduction for that. If you think that they are going to be more thankful and thoughtful and appreciative, or if they're going to be kind of the shark that's taking advantage of you and then still won't be happy. It's just kind of what you have to judge behind the screen and see how you want to deal with that. Another massive annoying problem is when people go beyond their revision requests. I personally don't believe in revisions. I don't like doing them. So I limit my revisions hardcore. That's one of my biggest, firmest points in my FAQ service policies is I have very strict limits on revisions. That's primarily because I want to do it right the first time. If you are someone who wants to offer unlimited revisions and I'm not happy till you're happy and blah, 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 then you need to be committed to going down that path. I think that the middle option of I'll do a couple revisions, but then it's hard. So I recommend one or the other. Either you are completely, I'm not happy till you're happy, or you're like me and I just have so much self-confidence in what I'm doing and I say you will be happy with that first delivery, and that's just what it is. But again, either way, when it goes into a dumpster fire, make sure that you are reconfirming your policy, which has to be clearly set. And I also like to ask very clear questions. So in the case of a revision, especially if they're being really vague, like they just say, I don't like it, which is the worst thing on the planet. You need to figure out the why, because unless you get a clear, specific answer on the things that they want to have fixed, even if you keep doing endless revisions, they're never going to be happy because either you don't know what they want or they don't know what they want. Asking a lot of clear questions will get to the bottom of that. Occasionally, actually, sometimes the buyer will believe me. And so while I'm asking these questions and they say, well, I think I want to do this, then I say, that's what this says. And they say, well, I think maybe I want to go this way instead. I say, that won't fit your audience. That's not a good thing. Trust my professional opinion, and I guarantee that what I've delivered for you will work. In with them answering the questions, I'm also providing reassurance. Questions, regardless of how it goes down the path, can get your buyer to do a little more critical thinking again, see how they fit into the process, and that's going to, I think, kind of inform the next steps you will take with them. And then another big problem is if they don't respond. As tempting as it is to continue on and just say, well, okay, if you're not going to get back in touch with me, then I'm just going to go ahead. That's really not a good idea. It's really annoying, but I don't recommend that you go forward at all until you get a response back from them. Make sure that you send frequent messages starting right away.
And I send those daily in the order form and then as well in the general inbox. Sometimes people see messages better in the inbox. I'm really not sure why. And then after a couple days of doing that, when it's getting closer to D-Day, then I go ahead and just upgrade to sending the same message twice daily.
I usually say important, like asterisk at the top of the order message when I'm getting really fed up with the fact that they're not getting back in touch with me. Hopefully, if they just saw like the start of the message come up in a preview, like in a notification on their phone or something, if they saw like important, I need information from you, and that's all they saw of the message, they might be more likely to at least open it and see what the heck it means, even if they were willing to look past other messages that said, hey, hope you're doing well, because then they would never see how urgently I need information from them. And then also in those messages, starting right away, unless, I don't know, I get a vibe from some people if I think they're going to be really on the ball and I don't need to say it right away, or if they might be a little bit flaky and I do need to say it right away. I almost always give some kind of a spiel to the extent of the 7-day delivery period starts when I receive all the information that I need to complete the order. So depending on the amount of delay, I will submit an order extension request for you to accept after I receive the information so that we can reset the 7-day delivery period back to the starting line, or something to that extent. Being upfront and letting them know that not only do I need the information from them, but also the 4 days that I was sitting and waiting for it doesn't count as me working on their order. So I will be resetting the timer. It will go back to the starting time so that I do have all of that time to actually do the work once they've done their job and gotten in touch with me. I don't know if that really answered your questions, but hopefully it does. Like I said, there's really no right answers in these situations. It's just kind of trying to be as helpful as possible without losing your mind. But hopefully you are experiencing more good buyers than bad. I do know that the longer I've gone in my career, the more I have priced up to match my level of professionalism. I'm also attracting more of those clients that meet my same level of professional, respectful collaboration. Keep in mind, if you are delivering high quality services that can be priced higher and are worth the value, that's the kicker, then I encourage you to do that, because you will be attracting people who are more respectful and willing to invest in something for their business. At least in my experience, you get less of those kind of predatory sharks who just want the cheapest deal possible and don't kind of care about trampling on you in the process. Ta-da! Honesty hour. In the meantime, wishing you happy buyers the rest of your life, and let's get back to work.